Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of the most offensive podcast ever. I'm Slimmy V, and today I got some not so good news. As you can see in the screen, 150 plus killed in Halloween crowd crush. This is a current of event that happened today, October 30. How did this transpire? Well, let me bring some context around Halloween and how the origin may have something to do with what happened today. I don't know if people understand where Halloween came from and how it came to be. Um, Let me read for you. This is from the Los Angeles Times. This was written back in October 27, 1985. The ancient Celts took Halloween so seriously it's scary, says Sharon Uller, historical researcher at Hallmark Cards. The Celts believe that each year on November 1st, the dead return to mingle with the living. Ceremonies of All Hallows Eve date back to 700 BC in the Druids of Wales, Ireland, and Scotland. Historical explanations of the origin of trick-or-treating differ, according to the researcher, but two customs may have led the way. One possible involved the Druid practice of offering gifts to their god in return for heavenly gifts. Okay, one possible involvement, I'm repeating, involved the Druid practice of offering gifts to their gods in return for heavenly rewards. These treats included black cats and human beings who were imprisoned in wicker cages and sacrificed to fires. I did not stumble on the word humans. Okay? Humans who were imprisoned in wicker cages and sacrificed in fires. The whole idea, you sacrifice human beings, okay, to your gods. And in return, you will get heavenly rewards. Let's look at this other theory right here. And listen to this carefully, because this is going to lead up into the news that I am going to show you. More cheerful in the theory that Druids offered banquets on the Druids' New Year's Eve, October 31st. I guess that's what it was called. For the ghosts and spirits haunting their homes. So they believed that ghosts and spirits haunted their homes. What did they do to kind of prevent that from happening? Well, after treating the ghosts, villagers acting like souls of the dead and dressed in costumes and masks tricked the spirits into following them out of town and away from their homes. So the whole idea of dressing up in scary masks and costumes was to pretend that you were a ghost or some type of spirit of the dead. And then you would lead spirits or deadly whatever souls out from your homes. You would march away from the village or towns somewhere else. That's part of the original theory of where Halloween came from. Now, this leads me to this sad event that happened. 100 plus killed in Halloween crowd crush. This is really sad. But I urge all Christians to sit down with their children and watch. Uh, this so-called holiday is not something Christians should partake in. Now, I don't know how this happened. Hopefully, there is an explanation in this. Let's take a watch.
South Korea, where the death toll now tops 150 in the crush of people who were out celebrating Halloween. Many of the victims suffocated in narrow alleyways. Today, families rushed to community centers anxious for news about their loved ones. And we've learned at least 2 Americans are among the dead, including a student from the University of Kentucky. ABC's Matt Gutman reports in tonight from Seoul.
In Seoul tonight, what started as a joyous Halloween street festival ending with screams. Those terrifying crowd surges, and that image of first responders desperately trying to revive dozens of victims. Officials estimate more than 100,000 revelers packed the streets of the Itaewon neighborhood, famed for its nightlife. Officials saying that at least 153 of them are dead tonight, 37 more in critical condition.
The revelers were coming by the thousands from each side, down below here, and from both sides up above. And this alley is just 14 feet wide. There was nowhere for anyone to go.
American Janelle Story was right in the middle of the crush.
Oh my God, oh my God.
Recording what ultimately became one of the deadliest crowd crushes in decades.
I just saw in front of me this mass of people running and pushing and screaming and like panicking.
Janelle made it out, but Australian Nathan Tavernity's friend swallowed up.
I reached I saw both of my friends' hands. Yerim Kim, she was at the bottom. And I just was grabbing her hand saying, I'm gonna get you out. But then she disappeared.
This video showing unconscious young people being carried through the crowd, shoes missing from their seemingly lifeless bodies. It was nearly an hour before first responders were able to wade in at around 11 p.m.
And then the emergency services arrived, and they were just pulling bodies out and just dumping them on the street.
Rows of rescuers performing CPR on some of the fallen. For many, it was too late. The deceased, many still in their costumes, put in those blue body bags lining the street. Upon hearing the tragic news, relatives collapsing on the ground. The State Department confirming 2 Americans among the dead, one a nursing student from the University of Kentucky. The President and First Lady tweeting today, our hearts go out to their loved ones in this time of grief.
One man says that he was trapped on a ledge just watching people die. Matt Gutman joins us now live from Seoul. Matt, South Korean authorities certainly have a lot of questions to answer about how this happened.
And right now, authorities say, Lindsay, they just don't have the answers to what people are asking. Like, how is it possible that there were only about 200 officers here for 100,000 revelers? How is it possible that organizers didn't anticipate tens of thousands of revelers in the first Halloween festival with lower COVID restrictions? Now, here's what we do know this morning here. Every single fatality happened in that alleyway behind me. Some of them teens too young to even have an ID. Lindsay.
Wow, Matt Gutman, our thanks to you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephan.
We've learned at least 2 Americans.
Wow. Wow. Now you just seen that and you heard that. Over 150,000 people. I guess over 100,000 people, and only 200. And neither of the people who organized had no idea that there was going to be this many people since the COVID restrictions. This could have been by design. This is something that I think we should really think deeply about, because I'm not gonna go into any conspiracy theories, but we should really think of this as this spirit. This is not a battle of flesh and blood. You know, as the old saying goes, there's a lot of spiritual warfare behind that is really causing demonic disasters. You have kids involved, you have adults, and it happens to be a celebration of what was the dead. Halloween is a celebration of the dead. Basically, that's what it is. Why is it that we partake in this celebration? What is the point of it? Now, of course, in all type of celebration, they are going to gift wrap it and make it look like something fun and something that you can smile and enjoy with kids and candies. And I definitely have to Google this. I'm going to Google this right in front of you. Fan. Okay, I'm gonna do Google this. Fentanyl and candies. Let's see. Okay, I'm Googling this right in front of you as we speak. Rainbow fentanyl candy is just the latest Halloween panic. You're looking at this, and this is real. For those of you who thinks that it's fun to take your kids out to go trick-or-treating and to get candy, knock on doors, just think that it just won't end good for some kids. Stay home, enjoy your time with your kids. This is sick. Let me read a little bit of this. Of the many urban legends associated with Halloween, none may be as persistent or as terrifying to adults as someone killing children via candy. The guiding logic seems to be that there's nothing in this world that children love more than sweets, and nothing murderers love more than murder. So year after year, stories pop up about Halloween candy filled with razor blades, cyanide, pins, and even drugs. The 2022 version of the phenomenon is rainbow fentanyl. Fentanyl is a drug intended to treat severe pain. The same drug, basically, that George Floyd was on at the time, during the time when he was stopped by police. Okay, fentanyl is a drug intended to treat severe pain, but when abused, its potency can cause death. Okay, if you go over a certain amount of limit, you can die. Okay, so it's no longer you try it. Okay, you feel sick. You don't feel that good. Oh my gosh, you had some drugs in this. No, you have drugs that when you take it, you can die. Okay, I'm not gonna read this whole thing. I am really trying to warn you about this type of holiday. Now, I'm not saying something like South Korea and the amount of people that died is going to happen everywhere. I'm simply pointing to you the origin of Halloween. Now, whether all this is true or not, as a Christian, I think it's something that you should think about. How do we come to be? How is it that I'm able to speak? What is inside of me that tells me that I am aware that I am alive? What is this thing that's in me that allows me to move, to live, to breathe, to interact, to get angry, emotional, happy, excited. What is this? Soul. Who put this soul inside of me? Who breathed this soul inside of me? How did that come to be? How is it that we cannot create human beings out of nothing? How is it that a sperm and an egg has to meet in order to create a human being? Where am I going with all of this? There has to be a higher power that created us. His name is Yahweh. The name, the unspeakable name. Now, if there's a higher power, a greater good, there must be an evil, right? This is the type of spiritual warfare that I'm talking to you about, right? There are designs in the government to worship evil, Satan. There are people who sacrifice babies and humans for the greater wicked. Things like that actually go on. So now you ask yourself, if that goes on, like, who are they worshiping? They worshiping Lucifer, who is their father. This is who they are worshiping, right? So if they are worshiping Lucifer and they are offering sacrifices, not to say that this thing was, but all I'm saying is there is an origin that states certain things like offering sacrifices for heavenly goods, as I explained to you minutes ago. So we gotta get this into our heads. Like, why is it that we allow our children to go out and trick or treat, get candies, knowing the type of world that we live in? Just whether you believe in spiritual things, the afterlife, God, Satan, Lucifer, whether you do or not, you have to at least get it in your head and say, geez, why are these people doing these evil things? Lacing candies up, something that we know children love. We know that no matter who gives them this, they are going to approach this person, whether it's a stranger or whoever. This is why we have to teach our children, do not take candies or anything for that matter from anyone. From anyone. Okay? Teach them about the origin. Know the origin. Like, what is the point of all of this? Like, why are we going out there 150,000? Like, seriously? That? Damn. Golly. Boy, I wish we could gather 150,000 crowd to march against abortion or something. But again, hey, look at that. Abortion, right? Sacrifice. Look, man, look, this is me. This is what I believe. I believe abortion is a sacrifice of babies to Lucifer. All right? Anyway, I ain't got no more to say, but rest in peace to the 150 that were killed in this South Korea Halloween crowd crush. Rest in peace to those. I really hope that God could be with them now. With how this whole thing goes, I just don't know anymore. But I'm hoping and praying that they have comfort and they turn to God. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment below. What are your thoughts on this? Should something like this should even be possible? What the heck is going on? Anyway, that's what I got for you on this October 30th, Sunday night. I'm Slimmy V, and this is the most offensive podcast ever. God bless, stress less, and let Yahweh do the rest. I'm out. Peace.